right, so I want to talk a little bit more about or get into some of the closing processes. And this is probably a lot of the stuff we didn't talk about, like you said, in class. We talked about the mechanics of how the class worked, but we didn't really talk about some of the other things outside of that. So, for instance, like policies and procedures. I came from the corporate world where we did a lot of ISO 9000 and ISO 14000, and I wrote all of the environmental ISO forms. So I'm used to writing documents with paper trails where they say, here's what this is and here's the version of it, and it's got to be reviewed within a year. That may be a little more than some people want to go into. But you guys probably should have policies and procedures for all of everything you guys do. There should be no decisions made without a policy or procedure that establish that decision. One is that way there's never this case of, oh, what do we do? And two is there's never this case of, well, you did that for him, but you're not doing it for me. When do you guys get paid? When you guys close a deal, when do you get paid? When the broker writes you a check, okay. This wasn't a generic answer. Usually 24 hours. Is there a policy in your set that says it's 48 business hours after the time you turn in all of the paperwork? See, and that's what I'm saying. We learn this basic stuff in class. Here it's the real world now. My policies say that you get paid within 48 business hours after you turn in all of the paperwork. And I've had agents do that to me before where they've come in with the commission check and like the closing document, and I've got certain things I look for, and I'm like, hey, you're missing the lead-based paint form. Well, yeah, it's in my file. Okay, go get it. Well, okay, I'll bring it back tomorrow. Then the check time doesn't start until then, because I'm certainly not going to write you a check and missing form because now you have no reason to bring me a form, whatever. So, there is a policy that says that. My agents know that. Now, like you said, Dave, a lot of times if the check clears, I'll write them the check. Well, actually, I move my money over because I use an electronic version of that. But, I've got a policy that says that. I had a agent a number of years ago that signed my name to a document, committed forgery. One of my policies says, my office policy says, if you commit any act of criminal activity, in my mind I was thinking like breaking and entering or stealing, you're no longer one of my agents. The second you commit a violation of any of the Indiana Criminal Code, you're not one of my agents. Well, she's forged my name and closed a document and closed a deal. Long story short, I think I've told you that, where we got sued by the buyer, and then I've not told you guys that story. We had a closing when I was Century 21 about, I don't know, really. Lady came in to me and she goes, I'm pissed, I'm suing you guys. I'm like, okay, who are you? What happened? She goes, I was your client with XYZ agent, I'm not going to tell you her name, who had the listing on XYZ Street. We closed on the house last week and the house is bad. I'm like, okay. I didn't even know that house closed. She's like, oh yeah, we closed about 3 weeks ago. She goes, now the electric doesn't work, it keeps shorting breakers, the plumbing leaks. She goes, the house is bad and I'm suing. I'm like, okay, so let me figure out. So to cut to the chase, what had happened was the listing agent was my agent, found the buyer, became limited agent, worked a deal, but the deal was so thin, the profit margin was so thin that they had to forego some of the commission to get the deal to work. Well, I didn't approve it, didn't know of it, but my agent forged a document to the title company saying that instead of collecting the 7%, we were going to collect no money at all and donate it to the buyer, to the seller, as proceeds to help close the document. Well, as it turns out, here's the big part of this puzzle, was the seller was the aunt to my agent. Oh, it gets better. They couldn't afford a home inspection, so she told the buyer that she would get the home inspected. She completely fabricated and forged a home inspection and said it was good, said the house passed. She made a good document. It looked great, on a home report. Well, when they closed, then they found out the home inspection was bad. I then said, how'd you close? I called the title company. They faxed me over a copy of my quote, finger quote for you listening at home, on letter, of my letter saying I surrendered my commission for this deal, which I didn't, with my signature that she forged. So we got sued in civil court, and when we went to civil court, I had an attorney, Jeff Jinks, and Jeff got me out of the court case. And because the judge said, yeah, this was a criminal activity, she committed forgery, you shouldn't be on the hook for this. So we got off. I still got dinged by the committee. Yeah. Yeah, the real estate committee still gave me a ding for that. She lost her license, but the point being is I have a policy and procedure that says once you commit a crime, you are no longer one of my agents. That is what got me out of with the judge. She signed the paper, and she signed the form. I've also got a form that lists all of my forms that they signed saying I read all of these and agreed to them. So I took that form and this one that's signed to the judge, and that was our defense, that she knew that she was not our agent any longer after that. So the second she committed the forgery on the report, the criminal activity of her signing my name, she no longer was my agent. Point being is, long story short, yeah.
She screwed the company she works for out of any commission. Then she screwed a family member with the inspection report that never happened.
Well, she thought she was helping the seller, which was her aunt, by the buyer not being able to afford a home inspection, so she told the buyer that the seller would pay for one to get her to buy the house. Forged the inspection. It ultimately turned around and bit them all in the butt, because in civil court, both the aunt and my agent lost for the entire price of the house, which was like $76,000. And here's the worst thing, and that whole thing about profiling, you would not have profiled this lady. Educated, master's education, she was the head of sales at Rolls-Royce Engines, made good money at work, just got caught up in a bad idea to help her aunt sell the house, and did all kinds of weird things to do it. Yeah, you don't want to do business with family. There she is, Miss America. So, you should have policies and procedures that dictate everything. I've got policies and procedures that talk about what's an office lead, what's an agent lead, what's commercial, what's residential. You know, we've got forms, earnest money form that you have to submit with a check. We've got a closing form where they calculate their own pay, and I oversee it. You know, how much is your pay? Do you have any desk fee? Do you have any outstanding bills to me? Like when I was Century 21, you know, we had E&O, and we had copier fees and long-distance phone bills and all of that. They would net all those out, and that's how I would use to calculate their paycheck. So you got to keep track of your office policies and procedures. I'm sure you guys all have seen your own policy books and things like that, right? Right.